This is serious now, Chris. Be serious.
I can't be serious.
The camera's on.
How do you want me to be serious?
I'm joking. I'm completely taking
I can't be serious.
No, me neither. I'm not very good at
You
it.
didn't even bring my name tag in.
I should have bought your name tag.
brought it-
I should. I've got one in the car. I could go.
Do you?
Yeah, we'll put it on you.
Funny. So we're already
Yep.
rolling. Welcome.
Oh, g'day.
This is
How
the
you going,
man,
folks?
Logan, John. If you don't already know who he is, anyway.
I'm in trouble if they don't know who I am.
You all voted
Yeah.
for him, so. But it was funny. Like I was at the Broncos this morning.
Yep.
And I was getting a hot chocolate, and Wally Lewis is standing next to me.
Oh, the king.
The king, and someone took a photo. I'm like, oh, who would believe it? Two kings in the one place.
Oh, the king of real estate, and the king of footy.
and the king of Queensland.
Queensland,
really.
brilliant.
But welcome, John.
Thank you. Thanks, Chris. Great to
Appreciate
be
your
here.
time. Like I know how hard this. This has been months in the planning to get here today.
It has. It has.
So-
And that was just working around your schedule.
Yeah. Pretty much. I almost cancelled
Yeah,
what
see?
I had today too.
See?
So, but I'm like, no, I've waited too long for this, and I think the people of Logan really sort of deserve this as well too, because we're coming fresh off the election where you are now the mayor,
That's right.
and I've met I actually live in the same street as who took over.
Oh, really? The former mayor?
The former
there we
mayor,
go.
Yeah, Mr. Power.
How's that going?
Uh,
Good neighbour?
Yeah, like he's 5 doors down.
Oh, yeah.
His house is bigger,
Yeah.
but I think it's Lockie's house.
I'm pretty sure it's Lockie's house.
I'm pretty sure it's Lockie's house.
But don't worry, he told us at length how expensive that house was to build. He was offended at how expensive construction was.
Yeah, well, it's a damn big home.
But when you get the marble and the gold plating, it all racks up.
And the
pretty
basketball
quick.
court.
And the basketball court.
I'm jealous of the basketball court.
And the fast charging stations for the 3 or 4
Tesla.
different Teslas
Yeah.
and the electric Porsche. Don't forget the
yeah,
electric.
yeah. Lockie's doing amazing things.
He's great.
So good
More
on
power to him.
Yeah.
More pun
Power.
intended.
Last name Power.
That's right. I do not have an electric Porsche, just in case anyone's wondering.
No, he drives a Kia.
No, it's a Triton. Thank you very much.
Whatever.
Jeez, but too bougie with the Kia.
Kia's upmarket for
It is,
you
mate.
anyway.
Oh, that's right.
So, but it's kind of funny living in the same street where Lockie is. He's a YouTuber
Yeah, of
and
course.
14 million subscribers. We actually have to lock down the street at Halloween
Oh, yeah, of course.
because so many people know where he lives
Yeah.
that so many people come to our street to just try and meet him.
Yeah, that's right.
It's hectic, man. So we leave at Halloween.
Oh, wow.
Like, we just get out.
Self-imposed holiday.
Yeah,
Must
it's
be
just
awful.
hectic, man. Crazy, man.
Yeah, it's full on. And I remember he always used to talk about like, how he would put out heaps of chocolate, heaps of candy.
Yeah.
And do something.
Oh man, I'd be knocking on his
That's
door
right,
with
but
gift
you get the best
bags.
stuff. You get the best stuff.
He had a whole heap of merch and power
That's
merch
right.
and stuff.
But that's his market too. That
Absolutely.
sort of 7 to 15-year-old.
Yeah,
like that's
definitely.
That's his sweet spot.
But you got outsiders coming into Logan
And
where
seeing how great it is.
Yeah, it's a great street.
Yeah, it is.
You know?
Oh, obviously because you're there.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
some other people bring it down, but
Yeah.
that's okay.
Well, Steve moved.
Oh, Steve, that's
So,
all right.
Hi, Steve. South Logan.
Hey man,
But,
you
yeah,
should move back if you want to be cool again.
No, please don't. He's got a noisy car and it wakes us up.
Ah.
So I stick it to him every morning.
Good.
Around that, but appreciate your time. So let's like there's a lot of people that probably voted for you that actually don't really know
Yep.
the real John Raven,
That's right.
So let's go. We were talking off cam.
Yeah.
You've upscaled. So grew up in Ipswich,
That's right.
but we're now a Logan resident.
Yeah,
We're
mate,
both-
good life choices, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It shows how smart I am that I moved from Ipswich to Logan.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I say to people every day. I'm like, there's so much growth happening in Logan. If you don't live here, there's no excuses. So come and buy a great house from Chris. But also the opportunity is here. So if the smart money is get in now because it's not getting any cheaper.
No.
And soon a lot of people are going to be locked out of Logan. which
And
is-
all those people, say 15 years ago, that laughed.
yeah. Oh,
Logan.
Those were my mates. So I bought a house in Marsden in 2008.
Yep.
And I remember my mates who lived in places like Auchenflower and Mount Gravatt just hanging on me, going, oh, why would you live there? Hope you've got a gun, all this sort of stuff. But then they come to my housewarming and they're like, geez, this is a big block. I'm like, yeah, it is. Like, what'd you pay for this? Oh, quarter acre, 220 grand.
Yeah.
And their jaw drops.
Yeah.
But now that property's worth $750,000. Like it's insane.
Yeah.
And that was only 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So it just shows you that real estate rule, what is it, doubles every 10 years?
Yeah, almost.
It essentially tripled in 15 years. So it's
we
crazy.
have a saying: the best time to buy real estate is 5 years ago.
So true.
You buy, people think it's expensive today. Wait for another 5 years and see how expensive it is. So buy it today.
Yeah.
So that's the rule of thumb. But like I grew up in Sunnybank Hills.
Yep. Logan adjacent, we call that. LA. Logan adjacent, yeah.
Yeah,
just outside of the city limits.
Yeah. So that's where I grew up.
Yep.
But I'm a Logan resident now and have been for nearly 10 years. And obviously our business is in Logan and has been supporting Logan for 17 years.
And you do a lot of work supporting local clubs, supporting sport. It's fantastic.
Logan Thunder, Logan South Magpies, the grassroots.
We won't talk about the Bullets though, hey?
The Brisbane Bullets? Well, the season, let's see how the season goes.
Okay, could go all right. Could come good.
That's on a national scale.
Yeah, that's true.
We do a lot behind the scenes with, a lot of the grassroots clubs, and that's super important to us, especially, I think Logan just gets a bad rap.
It does. Well, if you live here, you love it, right? You know it. When you talk to people in the street, they absolutely love living in Logan. And it's the people that they love, the community. But if you don't live here, you talk us down.
Yeah.
And I said to people during the election that I want to change the reputation. And that's not just to make you feel good about living here. When you start talking up the city, when you change the reputation, we bring more investment. So you get different kinds of jobs, different kinds of businesses, different kind of lifestyle coming to the city. So just yesterday I was at a new business that's been around for 4 years. They do refrigeration. So they rent fridge trucks to like Woolies, Coles, all that sort of thing. 4 years ago, they had like 15 trucks. Now they've got this brilliant facility in Berrinba. It's massive. It's the only one of its kind in Australia where they can do the manufacturing all under one roof, and they want to start employing local. So they're looking around going, who wants manufacturing jobs? Which is exactly why we want to bring people like that to the city.
And Logan's a huge council.
It is. It is. So third biggest by budget in the state, which means we're third biggest in the country as well, because Queensland's got the biggest councils. Right. But the Moreton Bay has bigger population. And so if people often say to me, what does the growth look like? If you look to Moreton Bay, they're basically 15 years ahead of us on growth. So they had, cast your mind back, when I was buying in Marsden, Mango Hill was already going off, North Lakes was going off. Right, so they're that 15 years ahead of us. So if you look to what they're like with a 500,000 population, we've got 380,000. It shows you what it could be like, but they are massive. They're a regional council that's just become a city. And so for us, when size-wise, we're nowhere as big as them, so we can do a much better job than they have. We can learn from their mistakes because we are three cities blended into one, and that means we've got a city that's really only 1/3 built. The old Logan is the part that's built up. Everything else is right for us to design a city together, which no other city in Southeast Queensland can do. Like Ipswich, where I grew up, old city, historical city, and that's great, but that means a lot of stuff is set in stone, quite literally. Right? So with Logan, we don't have that. We're a very young city. Got the youngest mayor we've ever elected.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you the youngest?
Yeah, by about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, wow.
That's a good run.
Kudos.
And then I think during the campaign, people responded really well to me saying a young mayor for a young city, because we're also the youngest city in Queensland. The average age is 34.
There you go.
Yeah, 30% of our population isn't even 18 yet. We're actually getting younger as well. So the only city in Queensland that's got younger population now than it did at the last census.
There you go.
That's because people are moving here and having families, right? They're setting up camp, which is what we love, because people are doubling down and they really want to make a future, make a life in our city. And so my job is to talk to them about what does that future look like and how can we design it together. Because one of the things that frustrates me so much about politicians is that generally the ideas get cooked up behind closed doors, lots of advice from experts and from bureaucrats, and then they come out and go, hey, this is what you want. And often the community only gets asked for like the last 5%. I'd much rather do it differently and include the community early and say, hey, let's design this thing together. Because I want to do a big 50-year plan, not a 4-year plan. We'd break that election cycle, stretch it out to a 50-year plan. Say, what does the perfect Logan look like in 2080?
And so what does the perfect Logan look like in your eyes?
Well, for me, it looks like a city you can move around easily. At the moment, we've got heaps of transport challenges, public transport and cars. So you want to
As in what? So buses and train? Like where do you see we're losing, or where's the issue?
So it's hard to move through the city by any mechanism, right? So you've basically got the Mount Lindsay in the west, the M1 in the east, and the east-west connections at Browns Plains Road. That's it. That's a problem, right?
But isn't the connector going in?
Yeah, so the Park Ridge connector, it's another north-south connection, so it runs from Berrinba all the way down to Jimboomba. It'll be really exciting to see that because depending on who builds it, I'm pushing them to put a bus lane on that, so you could actually have public transport running through the heart of the city, straight down to Flagstone, Jimboomba and Yarrabilba, which is...
Because that's where it's growing.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's actually underperforming out there. It's not growing as fast as it should. So the fastest growing suburbs...
So why is that?
I think it's because it's disconnected from the services and the amenities.
Yep.
So, and you know, when you're selling real estate, people go, where are the schools? How close is it to a bus? So Park Ridge and Logan Reserve are two of the fastest growing suburbs in the country. Depending on which week you do the cut at, we're either first or sometimes we slip down to third or fourth.
Really?
Yeah, it's insane. And that growth brings lots of opportunity, but there's also pressure, right? Park Ridge Road needs to be upgraded. It's a massive project. But a question, why didn't we do it 5 years ago, is a question that I'm asking every day. And part of it is because we're building infrastructure for the places that the state government said was going to grow, Yarrabilba and Flagstone, but they've lagged behind because why would you want to be an extra 30 minutes out when you could be in Park Ridge, Logan Reserves, you could be up here. So they're coming on now because of the housing crisis and people are keen, and they're great places to live, but just that extra bit of detachment means you have to travel further to work. Yeah. There's no sports clubs, there's no facilities out there yet. They're coming, but you know what it's like today.
It's probably like that statement that you said, we're still a young city.
We are.
You know, we're probably trying to progress or have 3 steps ahead where we just got to take probably smaller steps.
That's right.
It like doing what I do every day, we see it. Like we're on the road just as much as you are, and you know, you've got your Jimboomba and Flagstone. It is disconnected, you know, but eventually it will probably connect with Springfield, and Greenbank and Newbeath is a real hot spot. But again, we have clients there, they move there, they're there for 5-7 years and go, nah, it's too hard, it's too much drive. I can't get my kids now, they've grown up, I need them to get into sporting. But then you've got Everleigh now being built with an AFL and a club, and it's like trickle feeding sort of thing, isn't it? So
and the other part too is community, right? So when you've got, like, you look at Hubner Park, there's a soccer club here, the Park Ridge Panthers. So they're just outside of the growth front, and the houses are coming to them. That club is thriving, doing really well because it's been there for a long time. When you just pop in a satellite city and you go, hey, let's put a club out there, the infrastructure's not there. And not the roads, the people that make clubs come to life, the volunteers, the coaches, everybody who gets in there. And it takes time for that to develop, but in a modern society, everyone expects now.
Oh, of course.
I remember, so I grew up in Gilmour, which is right next to where Springfield first started. I saw the initial trees get cut down. That's where I used to ride my pushy in the bush there. And I remember my parents talking about, oh, do we want to move in there? I'm like, oh, but there's nothing there. And Springfield was saying, and there won't be for 20 years. So the land will be cheap, but no facilities, no public transport, no schools, no nothing. But in 20 years' time, you'll thank us. And fast forward 20 years,
look at it.
It's spectacular, right? And so having that conversation with the community is really important to set expectations. If you're going to move to Flagstone and Yarrabilba, that's great, wonderful place to live, but you're going to have to wait for infrastructure to catch up because we just can't build it before the people get there. There's not enough people to build at the moment. Civil engineering's pretty tight in. Yeah, money, it's pretty expensive at the moment.
And they whinge about everything else going up, but
that's right.
As we were talking before, you know, it's like I listen to people, you know, and I think we spoke, you know, when you first got in and you're like, yeah, rates are going to go up 3%. And I'm like, whatever, you know, everything's going up. And you've had a bit of people going, you know, he's put rates up already. And it's like, everything's going up.
Just to give some context too, so we put rates up by 4.3, right? And that was hard work to get it down that far. We had to make savings and we had to restructure the way that we gave our early payment discounts to businesses. We took that away. We did everything we could to try and ease pressure on everyday people in Logan because they're the ones who can afford it the least. And my general rule is I don't think a pensioner on a fixed income should ever be subsidising a service that I use as someone who's employed and has the capacity to pay, right? I don't think that's fair. And so the challenge we had during the budget was we've got to build up this surplus so that we can borrow money to build nice things, right? And we knew there'd be some shocks coming. So you come to the first update at the end of the financial year, we went from a really sweet surplus sitting around $16 million. It's not that much for $1 billion business, but it's a good number, higher than we've ever had before. In 1 month, we went from 16 surplus to 12 million deficit. because we took a massive hit. So a bit of federal funding didn't come through. They shifted it to a different financial year. A whole bunch of donated assets that we need to depreciate straight away. And all of these things just stacked on, staff costs go up at every financial year, and we've got all the liabilities for their long service leave and things like that. So if we didn't have that buffer, we would have gone backwards even further. Now, we'll get back in front again by the end of this quarter.
Yep.
But if we'd have gone lower on the rates, we probably would have spent a year, maybe a bit longer, trying to catch up. Yep. And that means we can't borrow because we don't have cash on hand. Because we're using the cash in our
these
savings.
are the people that are first screaming, I want this, and I want this, and that should be done, and where's this?
That's right. I would love to do everything for everyone all the time. That would be cool. That would be really good. But
well, you've got to be pretty thick-skinned to be in politics.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Because I think on the most untrusted people, I think you're actually below us.
Yeah, only just.
You know what I mean? So like in this room right now, we're bottom feeders.
Yeah, we are. We're bastions of.
Where we both probably get bad raps. You're a real estate agent, you're sleazy, you just want your money. You're a politician, you're corrupt. You're this.
That's right.
We cop it, right?
Yeah.
We so. And you know that when you get into it.
Yes, you do.
So, because you had an asbestos business.
I did,
and which you sold in 2017.
That's right.
So what? It fascinates me. What made you get into politics?
Yes.
What was it?
So it's interesting because when I started the business in 2004, and the state government then was reforming the asbestos industry, they did an okay job, but there were still lots of issues. Their goal was to eliminate cowboys and to make it safer for the people working in the industry and for the customers. Didn't really work that way. Made it worse, made it easier for cowboys to pass as though they were doing the right thing.
Really?
With a bit of box ticking, they could go, oh yeah, I'm insured, it's all good. So when, fast forward to 2009, 2010, state government's doing the same thing again. They're like, right, let's fix it properly. I was in the Asbestos Industry Association, and they were like, we need someone to go to Labor and someone to go to Liberal because there was an election coming up, to talk to them about the problems that we've got in our industry to make it safer for people. And so there was another bloke, he went to the Libs, had a lot of money, spent a lot of money to get access to them, and that was great for him. My business wasn't that big then, so I was like, well, I'll just go and volunteer. I'll just go and help out, make friends that way. And one really valuable lesson, if you ever want to get to know a politician, volunteer for them, because we never forget it. Like the people who donate me money, grateful, that's fantastic. People who donate their time.
Time is more valuable.
More valuable to me, and I appreciate it more because I cannot do it without people who just want to help, right? And I love those people and always take care of them. Same is true for any politicians. I made friends with lots of Labor politicians going through that process, and we did a good job. We actually, the second tranche of reforms, not perfect, but way better. Much, much better. Better for staff. I wish we'd had those rules in when I first started. I wouldn't have as much asbestos in my lungs. It just would have been so much safer. But anyway, and when you start building up those relationships, you're like, well, mates now with, like, he was the education minister then, and an opposition treasurer, and all these bits and pieces. Do you just give away those relationships? And of course you don't. You maintain relationships wherever you build them. It's good for business. And then in 2015, my predecessor as a councillor, Graham Abel, was retiring. And he actually came and said, like, put the call out, I'm looking for someone like me to take over. And Graham was a small business owner who became a councillor. And so straight away, people started going, hey, you're around politics, you're interested, you know how to campaign, and we think you'd be really good for the city. And for me, that was a hard slog. And we've spoken about this where you joke about you running for mayor. You got to take a massive pay cut to become a mayor.
That's why I won't do it.
I took a massive pay cut.
Because I beat you.
Yeah, you would. Oh, you destroy me.
I got more billboards.
You do. You destroy me. You're much better funded. But I took a pay cut to become a councillor. And because my business was in a growth phase, we're really successful. So I took that pay cut because I was enjoying my business. I was good at making money, but I really didn't have much purpose. I've gotten sort of into the rhythm where I was doing my thing every day, didn't really need to try that hard to keep doing it, and I wanted a new challenge, but I also wanted to have a bit of purpose. And so instead of focusing on making money, I thought I'd focus on making a difference. And the people in Logan really set my business up for success, because when we moved here and we relocated the business here, we were struggling. It was just after the GFC, things were pretty tight. And the people that we employed locally, their attitude and their gratitude for being given an opportunity took my business from struggling to success in like 6 months.
Really?
So without the people of Logan, I probably would have been bailing out of my business and probably come and work for you.
Sure.
And much better paid.
You would have done well. Because you can campaign well.
Okay, well, I couldn't then.
Well,
So I really felt it was a great opportunity to help. I didn't really I wasn't close to council. I understood state and federal politics pretty well. I didn't really understand what council did. And when I spoke to Graham Mabel, he said, what do you know about local government? And I said, I know that you don't get credit for doing the good stuff, and you get slapped really hard for doing the bad things. He's like, so true. Yeah. He goes, no news is good news for local government. And that's something I actually want to change. I want us to talk more about the good things, the great things we do for people. Because when people go, put rates up again, yeah, but look at all this stuff we've done for you. Like, look at this new water park. Look at this Orion-style lagoon that we're building. Look at this new public transport that we've secured. Like, you've got to start talking about the good stuff. Otherwise, people always will grumble.
They'll only talk about the negatives.
That's right, because it's easy to see the negatives. Social media makes it very easy to have a complaint, but the positive message takes way more than 5 seconds to talk about, but the impact it has is huge. And when people see it, they're like, oh, this is incredible. What's next? Whereas when it's negative, they'll give you a hard time about a small mistake for 6 months.
They'll give you a hard time, then vote for you.
That's right. That's true. That's actually true.
It's how it works.
Which is something that I learned in 2020 when I ran second time.
Yeah.
There was a bloke who would give me so much grief. He thought he didn't like speed bumps. And he was like, I can't believe it. He would call me up and he'd give me a hard time. And then on the polling booth, I showed up and I'm like, oh, mate, don't worry, I don't expect you to vote for me. He's like, oh, no, you're doing a great job. Just because I give you a hard time. Just because you give me just because I don't like
in the box.
Yeah, sorry, just because you give it put some speed bumps in, I don't like it. I like everything else you do. I just don't like that. So I still support what you're doing. And that was a real eye-opener for me.
Absolutely, it would be.
Yeah, when you take it on the chin, you go, oh, if someone's giving me a hard time about something, they must not like everything I do. And that's just not true.
Yeah.
So I take everything with a grain of salt now.
I probably shouldn't even say this. You're the first person from Labor I've ever voted for.
Oh, there you go. And a lot of people say that to me. So I'm very much in the centre, right? So, and small business background. I remember when I joined the Labor Party, my business mates like, what are you doing? You're a business owner. You should be backing the Liberal Party all day. And at the time, the Building the Education Revolution was going on with Kevin Rudd. And I was like, mate, there's about 6 million reasons in my bank account why I support Labor, because he was spending money and I was doing that work and I was employing people.
So I don't even know how that works, because I think a lot of people vote generally what their parents have or what they install, right? So, the tone is Liberals more look after, the small business and, and that sort of stuff. But honestly, you are the first Labor of any federal, state, whatever I've ever voted for.
It's a huge compliment. It's a huge compliment.
I've got a lot of respect for what you do, and I see what you do in the community and stuff, and you probably don't get enough recognition where you've been voted in, so that's a good thing.
Pretty big recognition.
Yeah. But how does someone decide they want to be Libs or they want to be Labor or they want to be Greens or National or Independent?
And so for me, really line ball, because I'm literally, I'm probably centre right. If you put me on a spectrum, I'm slightly to the right of centre. The Labor Party is slightly to the left of centre and the Liberals are slightly to the right of centre. So even when I talk to my friends who are in the Liberal Party, they're like, you should have been Liberal, mate. You should have been Liberal, you'd fit right in. Yeah. Maybe, but there's things that often on the extremes is how people identify like the political parties. So when you look at what happens on the extremes of the Liberal Party, on the extremes of the Labor Party, I'm not a fan of any of that. But I could probably cop the Labor stuff a little bit more than I can the Liberal stuff. Right?
So I always thought it was just colour. I liked red or I liked blue.
That's what my kids thought for a long time.
It's a bit like the Democrats and the Republicans.
Yeah.
So it was just a colour choice.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And they're different again, but it's interesting to watch. Most people assume that if you're in the Labor Party, you're lockstep with everything that they think, and that I must believe.
And that's not the case.
No. Yeah. I have the biggest fights especially with the left of the Labor Party. I have the biggest fights with them because they change the brand, and I don't necessarily agree with what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
And so the biggest fights are often internal, going, no, if we're going to help people, we need to focus on practical outcomes and on what helps the most people most of the time.
But we don't see that.
No, you don't. And it's not that interesting either, right? Because it's really philosophical and ideological, and people don't care about that stuff. Politics is boring to 99% of the population.
I love it.
But me too. But it impacts so many people.
It affects our day-to-day living.
It does.
Affects everything. Your schooling, your kids,
right.
you're growing up, the area you're in, your business, if you're an employee who you work for, like it, we can't get away from it.
No.
You know?
And I think when politics is done well, so that's when people are the focus and you're trying to get your hand on heart, trying to get the best outcome. I think both sides do an amazing job. Politics done poorly is when they're attacking each other or when they're putting their own interests ahead of the community. I hate that stuff. I can't cop it.
And that was probably one thing you didn't do.
No.
It's I don't think the general public like it at all. Like it's like we're voting in someone that we want to to go to work for.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like you're working for us. We voted you in, and all you want to do is just slag this guy and that guy, and they do the same. It's like, well, what are you actually doing for the people?
Yeah.
So I think you're smart enough. And
the more time you spend talking about yourself or about your opponent, the less time you are talking about your community.
Yeah.
And that is dead set who I'm here to help. I'm not interested.
Mate, that's obvious because like if you don't follow yourself on socials, like man, you're I don't know if you ever see your wife and your kids at all because like you're in some function and like literally every night here's another selfie here and I'm here and I'm at this Indian festival here eating this food with these lovely people, and then I'll see you at South or I'll see you at Logan Thunder or we're probably at similar sort of networking stuff here and there, but mate, you're like every day you're like it just is. And I think like it was very clever because I was watching and I know I watch a lot of stuff when elections come and they ramp up and I know that Darren was exiting and there was yourself and then a couple other candidates and I'm like hands down John's got this in the bag and it ended up being a whitewash.
That's right.
Pretty much poor fellas.
It's actually quite overwhelming the level of support I got because you never really know, right? So
yeah, but you played it so well, John.
It's just spending time with people, right?
They're the people that are going to vote for you.
I agree, and they still love it. Like I show up to things, and like Darren and I were mates, but I'd show up to things, and they're like, "What's the mayor doing here? The mayor doesn't come to this event." I'm like, he does now, and they're shocked and really happy, like because they want to have a chat, and so much easier to have a chat at a game of footy, game of basketball, at a cultural event, down the shops, in the pub, like that's where people live. So I go where they are.
They want to be just like you and feel that you're just like them, and we're here in the same place. That's all people want.
So true, so true.
No matter how many zeros you got in your bank account or how many homes you have, like that's one thing I've learned. Like people. Yeah, I don't think the most valuable, and you said it before, is giving someone their time.
That's right.
So, but like Pam Parker was in back in the day when we first started our business. She came to our opening and stuff like that. She exited. Honestly, I didn't see Darren anywhere.
Yeah.
Right. Very probably old school, where you've come in younger.
Yep.
You've used social media very well.
Yep.
And I think that's what catapulted it, to be honest, because we're all following and you're like, man, here he is here he is here. Like you played it exactly how I would have played it, right? Beautifully. One thing I want to ask, and it cracks me up. I passed him this morning, but what is the go with? Is it purely just to get out in front of people, right? The waving on the streets,
waving,
right?
The waving.
Like it cracks me up. My kids love it, right?
Yep.
They'll hang out the window and whatever, and then I'll be, oh, there's John, and then there's the blue candidate over there, and whatever. And you know when it's ramping up, and you got all your signs, and you got all your people, and you're just waving. Is that just so you're seen?
Yes and no. So I do it for different reasons to what I think most political candidates do it. So there's ways to contact people, and one of the ways is being where they're driving to work, right?
Yep.
So for me, when I first got elected, because no one knew me, right? I wasn't like a famous real estate agent. I wasn't the president of the footy club. I wasn't involved in Neighbourhood Watch. I was literally a local business owner who said, I'll work really hard for you if you give me a go. Yep. That was my pitch when I first got elected in 2016. And so there's two things that I got on feedback. We don't know you. How do we know you're not just going to disappear after the election? And I promise people, you will see me. So the two ways I did that was I kept door knocking, which also blew people's minds. I was door knocking 2 weeks after my first election. They're like, what are you doing here? I'm your new councillor. I'm here to introduce myself. Yeah. I'm like, but it's not election time. I'm like, well, that's the best time to talk to you because there's no pressure on it. So that was really good. But then the other one, I was like, how else can I do it? Because door knocking's good but slow. You know that. Like really,
I don't do it at all.
They're really high value engagement, but takes a long time. Minimum 5 minutes per door. A lot of doors are empty. And so I thought, what else can I do? I said, you know what? I'm going to get out at Christmas time and I'm just going to wish people a Merry Christmas. No politics, just no election anywhere in sight. And people responded so positively to that. And especially because at the time, cast your mind back to 2016, there was a bit of grief around, is there an anti-Christmas movement? And I was just getting out there going, I'm a counsellor and I think Christmas is great. And the funny thing is, everybody waves. So lady in a burqa, she's waving. She's having a great time. Sikhs with the turbans on, they're waving. Kids, and that's the other thing too. When you do it year on year, nothing to do with an election, people remember that and they appreciate it. And I really enjoy it. There is no better way to start your day because I'll do it from sort of 6:30 to 8:30 when I'm working, and you get about 2,000-3,000 waves, toots, and smiles. Great way to start your day. Right, and just really uplifting. And so yes. Do people know you? Is that a good thing as a politician? It is. But when other candidates come to me and they go, how should I campaign? And I go, well, this is what I did. They're like, geez, that's a lot of hard work. I'm like, yes,
no shit.
It is. If anything worth doing, it's going to be hard.
Look at the result
That's right.
Pulled.
Yeah. We know it works because only about 25% of the city knew who I was.
Really?
Right. So a really, really small portion of the city was my electorate and a little bit of the fringes around.
Which was?
Division 5, so that's what Marsden, Waterford West, Berrinbar, Crestmead. So around there, really popular, well known. But once you started getting onto like the other side of the highway, your side of the highway, very low profile. The south and the west of the city, pretty low profile. The only thing that really held me in good stead was the work I'd done during the floods when I got out and told people what was going on. And
and I remember you doing that.
Massive feedback that.
You were like a news camera, you were giving us updates better than the news was.
Well, and the first time, so in 2017 when it happened, when a flood's coming in, you're in demolition or asbestos, you're ramping up to be busy because you're going to do a lot of insurance work, but all your work kind of dries up in the week of and just after the flood because everyone goes into emergency mode. So what we used to do was just go do volunteer work and help people clean up their houses. Then. And so when the flood's coming as a councillor, I'm like, what do I do here? Like, I'm not a business owner. And I was like, I'll get out and I'll help people prep. And you can only help one family at a time.
Correct.
And then I had all these people asking, are these roads cut off? I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get out and I'm going to show people where it is that's safe to get home. I still remember in 2017, 2nd Avenue had been flooded. The bridge had been cut off. 3rd Avenue was about to go under. Some fool had driven his car and had been washed to the side and had to be rescued and pulled out. And I just happened to show up then, gave him a hand, and then started filming and going, hey, if it's flooded, forget it, just going on the public safety message. And there's like hundreds of people in this live feed. I'm like, oh, this is weird. I had like 800, 900 followers at the time. I'm like, people must really like this stuff. So I just told them what was going on, what to expect, and all the information that we'd been given. And then I did that video. And then I went, well, let's find the other roads in my area that are going to get cut off and let people know what state they're in. People loved it. I got a call from Jim Chalmers. He was down in Canberra and he's like, what is going on in Logan, mate? Everyone in Parliament is sharing your video because it's gone viral. I'm like, oh, really? I'm just trying to show people in Logan what's going on. He's like, you bastard. I'm going to come home. So but people responded really well to that. And what they told me was that mainstream media doesn't cover Logan because we've got no identity. We don't have our own media market. So Brisbane's got media, Gold Coast's got media. We're just sort of stuck in the middle.
We're the forgotten zone.
Yeah, and people hate it. They absolutely hate it. They said, we love that you're giving Logan information to Logan people. In 2022, when it came back again, I was deputy mayor then, so I was getting better information from council, which was great. And people were expecting it too, so get out and let them know what's going on. And someone said to me, oh, now that you're mayor, you can't do it. Because during a disaster, not many people know this, but the mayor essentially becomes the commander-in-chief. Like the mayor coordinates the disaster response, but you've got a deputy chair of that committee to help you do that. And I warned the committee the first time we met, I said, if you think I'm going to stop talking to the community about what I know, you're dead set wrong because they're my priority. I can call into this meeting. I don't need to sit in this room with all of you very talented people from Energex, from TMR, from Queensland Health. You know what you're doing. I'll just make sure that the community's input is in the room with you. And the amount of prep that you do for disasters, again, I didn't know this. Darren never spoke to me about it, but we did an exercise the other day on what happens if the power grid goes down unexpectedly, like the entire state's power grid. It gets pretty crazy pretty quick. That's what happens. And the mayor has a responsibility to make sure you keep people safe and keep them informed. But how do you do that when the mobile phone towers go out? Like, it's full on. But if we didn't do that drill, we wouldn't know the weaknesses, the stuff we hadn't planned for.
Yeah.
Now we're prepping for that, talking to Telstra. How would you bring in temporary mobile phone towers? Do we have enough fuel to run the water system? Turns out we do. It's great. It's good to know.
It is intriguing. Like, I love talking to people and understanding what it's like a day to day. It just boggles my mind. Like the amount. Like, I feel very privileged. You even just spending an hour here. Like, it's, you know, because like, I think your time you'd be busier than me. You'd have a lot more people that you'd have to see and attend to, and your meetings, and then, you know.
And taking care of people still though, like
it's crazy.
Because there's a level of, and you get it. Any business owner gets it. The owner of the business is the chief problem solver, right? You find a way.
Yeah.
And I brought that mindset.
They look at you.
Yes.
Like, you're going to help us. Like,
that's it. And I brought that mindset into government. And as a councillor, people were like, wow, I've been asking for this problem to be solved for like 15 years. Yeah. You got it done in the first 6 months. Like, how'd you do that? I just applied my business owner mindset, which is, well, I've got to find a way to solve this problem. There's 1,000 reasons to say no. I just need one reason to say yes. And I would keep looking for that reason. As mayor, I've still got that. But my list of people that I'm solving problems for went from 20,000 to 380,000.
380,000.
And so how do you use your time to make sure you're helping as many people as possible? But that doesn't mean you can ignore the individual who's just hit a roadblock. Usually in government, there's a way. Someone just needs to care enough to push and to find that way. And I get probably 5 or 6 of those a week that are like, no one else can solve it but me. And if I don't make time for those people, no one solves it. And they feel really sort of let down by their city, by their council, and often people, because they don't know the difference between local, state and federal that well, even when it's not a council thing, I can often short circuit the state and get you the right person. So they feel like all of government is letting them down if I'm not there to help. And so I feel that responsibility really acutely. And so I set aside time each week that's just problem solving. There's a list of them, like, think deep thoughts, how are we going to help this person? And make sure we can get across the line for them.
So what's the future look like for Logan? Like, I know we've spoken, like we want to really look at business and bringing more businesses here and more people here, because we've certainly got the land.
We do.
And stuff. So because like, you're not here just for 4 years.
No.
I've got no doubt you're probably going to do 2-3 terms quite easily.
Yeah, I'll be here as long as the people have me.
Yeah, well, you keep doing what you're doing. I think I think you'll be probably one of our longest serving.
Well, and people said they want continuity, because we've had, so Pam was great. People loved Pam. We had the dramas with corruption stuff, so that was really disruptive and lowered people's confidence in council and in the city, and from a business and investment sense as well.
Because we had, was it
Luke Smith?
Smith.
And then
that spiraled.
Yeah, it did. And really, really messy, and no one really understood how important your councillor was till you didn't have one. And then they went, wee. And then Darren was only ever going to do 1 term. He was really clear about that. So there's really been no continuity since Pam, which is a long time to go. And we've got this incredible opportunity right now. It's someone said to me, it's a once in a lifetime. I'm like, nah, it's not once in a lifetime, it's once. We get one shot at this, because we've got the Olympics, which will never come back to Queensland, realistically. Like, probably
in our time.
Not in our time. My great grandkids might see it.
Yeah.
So maybe another 100 years before it comes back. So we've got the first Olympics. We've got housing crisis, so people are willing to accept that we need to build more houses and we need to build them smarter, better, quicker. We've got massive growth because of that. We've got huge diverse population, most diverse population in the world. Like, no city is more diverse than Logan. New York, see you later, not as diverse as Logan.
Really?
And I'm actually going to Cairo to the UN to talk about us as a diverse and growing city. We are on the world stage as a unique place in the world, and like places like Barcelona.
Why Logan?
It's actually by accident, I think. Like, I would love to say that it was on purpose, that it was really diligent planning. But when you look at the way amalgamation has happened, when you look at where refugees were settled, when you look at the affordability of the land, all of that for a long time brought people together like a melting pot, right?
Yeah.
But there's things that we did really well, which I have to give props to Pam for, that like we've just continued it. So there was, other cities don't have a really cohesive, harmonious, multicultural experience.
Okay.
Often you'll have conflict between tribes, between different cultures. North side of Brisbane, Ipswich has a bit of it. We don't see any of it in Logan. And those mayors think that it happens by accident, that we're just lucky. It is not an accident, right? And it's not council that's doing it all. It's everybody working together. So when we had the issue back, I think it was 2008, 2009, where there's a conflict between the Indigenous and Pacific Islander community, it was a real wake-up call for Pam that she couldn't just hope that things would work out. So she actively leaned in there and brought those communities together.
Yep.
High schools do the same thing. So instead of cultures being in competition with each other, they celebrate their culture together. So they lift up their unique experiences and practice together, maintaining their uniqueness,
And come together
but
and-
encouraging people instead of competing with each other. From council's point of view, we lean in really hard and work closely with their leaders, because a community leader, a cultural community leader, is like a councillor. They do so much after hours work. They're really well connected, and they can get a message out quickly. Persuasive, trusted. And so I build strong relationships with those people so that when they've got a problem, they'll come straight to me and we can get onto it early, really quick. And if I've got an important message we need to get out, we did it during COVID. If there's a message you need to get out to people in different languages, you can do it so fast in Logan. Other cities struggle. And so we do that really well. And so we've sort of been given all these opportunities and we've adapted really well over time. Now it's all lined up, right? And what we need to do is start getting the community, the businesses, the churches, the charities, and other levels of government to all get into alignment and push in the same direction, which is why that vision for what does Logan look like. And you were saying before, what's the future? We need to transform the economy. Right now, our two biggest industries are construction and logistics. And that's okay for right now, but it won't be okay forever, because those jobs rely on being able to build things on greenfield land. So we'll lose that over time. And logistics, love them to bits, but it's really low density employment. So you get a 20,000 square metre big facility that's maybe got 20 to 30 jobs on it. I want a 1,000 square metre footprint with 500 jobs on it. That's what I want, because that means we're higher paid jobs, professional jobs. And with that means that the businesses that wrap around them can service people who have those incomes. So how do we do that? We look towards innovative industries, new industries, things like data centers, cybersecurity. We look towards recycling, renewable energy. Logan does so much in the water space. We run our own water business, which is different from other cities. Gives us this amazing ability to also not just be a water provider, but a utility provider for power. Because if we build enough solar, we can provide grid stability. State government pays you for that. That's another income source that isn't ratepayers. My endless mission is to find people other than ratepayers for us to get income from. Because I don't want ratepayers paying for everything. So if we can find a better way to do it, let's do that. And from a community point of view, that means that we become a really metropolitan city. We become a crossroads for all of Southeast Queensland, because you can't move people or products through this region without coming through our city. So the best and the biggest, the smartest businesses should be in Logan, because they're right in the beating heart of where all the activity is. Too expensive.
That's pretty evident now, though.
It's happening now, right?
Look at Wayne Goss Boulevard, like that whole section through there, up the road. There's some big wigs here.
There is, and it'll keep getting bigger.
All Properties Group is, we made it home.
Yeah, that's right. And you made the difference. That was the turning point for the city.
It could have been, man.
When Pam came to your opening, she was like, "That's it. We've done our job. Economic development over."
Yeah, there was 4 of us. Now there's 80 of us.
See,
so
it's
it must have been her.
But that future potential, transforming the economy, getting those high value jobs, because that 30% of the population that isn't 18, I don't want them to leave. I don't want them
You want them to stay in Logan.
I want them to stay. Because I want that loyalty that they've got to the city, the pride they've got in living here. I want that to double down. I want them to have really successful lives, have their own families, have a whole diversity of housing options, whether they want to live in a unit, a townhouse, terrace house, big rural property.
So do you think there's not enough of that?
We do need more of it. So the challenge with the housing crisis has really come to the fore now, where we know that to build a greenfield house, so a brand new house that used to be farm, like in Logan Reserve, great example. The developer pays 30 grand for infrastructure charges for trunk infrastructure. So it's water, roads, sewer parks, community. and he passes that on to the person he sells the house to, right? It all adds to the cost of housing.
Yeah.
What we know is that for greenfield, it costs council $60,000 per lot to deliver the infrastructure that one house needs. So at the moment, we're going backwards. The faster they build, the more debt we take on to build the infrastructure, right? And people go, oh, but you get it back from rates. And you do. It takes about 23 years for a house to pay off.
There you go, 23 years.
To pay off that 30 grand
There you
deficit.
go, listeners.
Yeah, so when you're saying, oh, you're getting all these extra houses, and so you're making more money, I'm like, yep, break-even point is roughly 23 years per greenfield property.
Yeah, wow.
When you look towards stuff like townhouses, like brownfield, so infill, where you knock down houses and you build units or townhouses or terraces.
20, 30, 40, 50 of them.
Yep, that's right.
That's why the Gold Coast is...
That's exactly right. And that only costs us 30 grand to build the infrastructure because it's already there. We're just upgrading it. We get much higher density of housing, which means 1 square metre, 100 square metres will have far more sort of income on it than it would otherwise. And the Gold Coast and Brisbane do it perfectly. So Brisbane has the CBD. Yeah. Something like 40% of their revenue comes from the CBD because they charge rates on every level of every high rise, right?
Yeah.
Gold Coast does the same thing. Yep. Gold Coast is actually really clever. For their high rises, if you are an investor, and we talked about this, if you're an investor, you pay 46% more rates than an owner-occupier in the exact same apartment.
Yeah.
And because they go, well, if you don't live here, you should pay more. You should contribute to this great city because you don't live here and contribute personally. We're not quite that high yet. I don't think I want to go there, but we need to find different ways. We need more industrial and commercial land so that, because they do pay more rates per square metre, that means that everyday people pay less rates per square metre when we get more and more of that sort of development happening.
So we've got to attract more business.
We do.
To get here, which will then build more infrastructure and more. And it's just a double-edged sword, but you can see how it just snowballs.
It does.
As well too. So you've got a pretty good base.
Oh, really? Unique. No one else has got the opportunity that Logan has. Like, so unique. So we've got young, ambitious mayor who I will be here for as long as you'll have me. So there's no risk of me going up, pulling up stumps, and I'm going to a different level.
So you want to see this out?
I want to see this out. Like if you'll have me for 20 years, then I'll be here for 20 years.
Yeah.
And someone, because we've got state
so
elections.
I'll run in 21
there
years.
There you go. There 21
there
years.
You go.
So because someone said to me, oh, state election's coming, surely you'd be thinking about a state seat. Like no interest
whatsoever. I was
whatsoever.
going to ask you that. Is
None.
You want to stay?
Yeah, I'll stay put. I'd much rather see this project out. Like turn Logan from what it is today, which like we've got stuff that we love, but there's still a lot of areas.
So you want to create a legacy for Logan?
Yeah, for Logan, and really be able to say that, like, why did you step out of private life into public life? And then right at the start, to make a difference. And at the end, I want to be able to turn around and go, I was part of that.
Yeah.
Never on my own, because you can't do it without people. But without me there, we wouldn't have achieved those things.
Yeah.
And that
like the general of the army.
That's right.
You want to bring all the troops along and carry and bring everyone and enriching their lives and give back, and it's kind of cool. That's a legacy thing.
Yeah, like, and it's really exciting. Like, and it's a huge concept. Even talking to people to get them to think about what do you want Logan to look like in 2080. Most people go, I've never even thought of that. I'm like, well, imagine it's 2080. What do you want to see? And some people, they jump straight to flying cars and like the jets.
We've got flying cars. They're called aeroplanes.
We do. Well, I met a bloke the other day. He's got a hover car. Is too expensive to bring to market at the moment.
There is only about no way am I flying in Logan with the amount of crazy people, because there's only one way when you crash.
That's right. They all fly themselves when they get to that point.
But we've got wings.
Yeah, that's right.
We're one of the first adapters of wings.
And I was in the room when that decision got made by Wings. So there was 3 councillors. So that's a really funny story, and it shows you the difference between having a young council and an old council, right? So,
what's a drone?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you.
And so we get this message from Advanced Queensland, which is like the state government sort of innovation program, saying, "Oh, we've got very mysterious and very cloak and dagger. We've got an internationally recognised tech business that's interested in Logan." And we're like, "Ooh, this is exciting."
What's this?
They want to have a meeting with you on the 23rd of December, which was a Friday before Christmas that year. And of course, everyone's on leave. And the 3 councillors were around. There was the deputy mayor at the time. There was the planning chair, who's Russell Lutton. And then I reckon the only reason they got me in because they thought I might be the one who knows what a drone is or what technology is, because we didn't know it was drones.
Yeah.
They get in, they explain it to us. And what they said to us, what Wing said to us is they wanted to know, would the community accept it? Because they didn't want to come somewhere and they have massive brand damage and it fails because people hate it. And the area they were proposing was my electorate. They were saying, and that was dumb luck too, because they didn't tell us that before we were in the room. And while my colleagues, God bless their cotton socks, were still trying to understand what does a delivery drone do, I'm like, yes, my community will love this.
Yeah.
You're going to bring me coffee, like
to my doorstep, and I don't have to leave.
hot chooks, tools, medicine. They're doing wine now, and the timing of it.
That's bad.
Yeah, they're just Uber does wine too. It's fun, but the timing of it when they launched ended up being perfect because COVID had just kicked in.
Exactly.
And that was fortuitous for them. And the funniest thing about all of that though is that when they first launched, they did all this letterboxing and they handed out $20 of free anything. Right, so delivery is free. They don't charge you for delivery. So they said $20 credit, buy anything you want. And they got about a 0.2% take up. 6,000 flyers, next to no one engages. And I remember them talking to me and they're American going, we don't know what happened, John. It's such a good product. And then 6 months later, they did it again, but they offered free Tim Tams. 90% take up.
Damn, really?
Yeah.
So that's it?
Yeah, Tim Tams. It was so funny. And
Next election,
you
free
see,
Tim Tams. You see John just giving out Tim Tams. You want Tim Tams?
Because when you say you can have anything, it's too many decisions.
Yeah.
But when you say have a free packet of Tim Tams delivered by a drone, people are like, that is so cool. And they didn't understand the Australian love of the Tim Tam either, right? So they were something like 6,000.
That's clever.
Yeah, 6,000 deliveries in 2 days. It was insane.
Jesus.
Insane. So, and that really kicked it off. Once people knew what they could do and they're like, oh, I see how this works.
Yeah.
And there's amazing stories with that. I'd have a lady call me going, like a pensioner, probably in her 70s, and she's like, I'm afraid that my neighbour is dealing drugs and he's using a drone to do it. These deliveries are coming all day. And I'm like, I'm going to send you a photo. You tell me if it looks like this. And I send him a photo. Yeah, that's it. I'm like, that is not drugs. He's getting coffee delivered. He's like, really? I'm like, send her the link. So then half an hour later, she's got a delivery and it's a selfie with her holding a hot chick. She's so happy with herself. She's like, this is amazing. So it just shows you
Logan.
Yeah, from fear to hot chook.
Yeah, half an hour later.
Yeah, it was and she became a huge fan, converted straight away.
Absolutely.
And because I assumed that it would be young people that would like it the most.
No.
But like younger people are out moving around doing stuff anyway, so it's convenient to stop on your way home.
Yeah.
But if you're a bit older and
you've got kids and you're
or you're looking after grandkids or
absolutely,
young mum and you've just got the kids to sleep, there is no way you will leave in that house.
Yeah.
So get it delivered to you. So that was amazing. And that really got people thinking, hey, we can do things differently and better in Logan. Like we don't just need to buy into the media view of us, which is like, oh, we're that dodgy place south of Brisbane. Which is why I've changed like the map of southeast Queensland now. So Logan is obviously the centre of the universe. Yep. So the place to the north of us, I think the Lord Mayor likes to call it Brisbane. I call that the Logan Economic Zone. Because 60% of our population leaves every day to go to work.
Yep.
And that's where they go to make their money, bring it home and spend it with our businesses, right? Yep. Down to the south, Tom Tate calls it the Gold Coast. I call it Logan Shores.
Logan Shores.
Yeah, Logan Shores.
Okay, we're going to call our new Gold Coast office.
You should, Logan Shores.
I call it Upper Logan. Because Nathan does Gilmour and Pippa. I'm like, man, that's not Gold Coast, man.
I know. So when it's that far north, so anything that's really close to the boundaries, so Sunnybank Hills, Gilmour, Pimpamar even, we call that LA. Logan adjacent.
Yeah, okay.
Right? So it's like the people who are close to us, they get the privilege.
So where have you gotten off it? Yeah, I got it in the LA.
Yeah, put it LA.
That's LA.
See, I told you. So that's good.
I'm done.
And so out to the west, we've got Ipswich. You know, it's obviously West Logan. There's a mean name for that. We won't use the mean name, but yeah.
Say it.
I grew up there. Logan's landfill. You know. Sorry, Teresa. And then you've got Scenic Rim, which Logan's Lookout because it's beautiful up there. And
isn't Scenic Rim just booming?
Yeah, it is. And this is the interesting thing, right? As value goes up in Logan, you'll find people who go, well, I do want affordable housing. And I don't need, because if they work from anywhere, they don't need to commute. So they'll move out further to Bowie and places like that.
Absolutely.
And we've got an obligation then, because when we connect up our transport network, they benefit from it.
Yep.
And the mayor out there, the new mayor, Tom Sharp, he's really keen on partnering and collaborating. And then, of course, Moreton Bay, Logan Peninsula.
Okay.
And we want to set up
I'm going to do a post. Right? I'm going to get them.
I'll send you the map. We've got a map.
No, man. I'm just going to say, APG is coming to LA.
Yeah, there you go. That's great. Perfect.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
People
Nail
will be
it.
like, what the?
Yeah.
Logan adjacent.
That's right, Logan adjacent.
Oh, man, I'm done.
Perfect.
That
See,
is
here to help.
brilliant.
Here to help. And so when you reframe it like that, it gets people thinking differently. And I do it as a joke, but I was just out at West Logan on the weekend for an SES event, and the Assistant Commissioner of Police stood up, and because he's from Logan, and said, "Oh, it's lovely to come to West Logan today for this event." And he's like, the Mayor of Ipswich is sitting right there, not that happy with me. I'm like, "Yeah, West Logan, good on you, mate."
West Logan.
And because the joke continues, but then it shows you, because we are the heart of Southeast Queensland. Pam used to say that all the time, but literally, you can't move people or products around without coming through our city.
You've got to come through us.
So we are the centre of the universe, and all things come through us. So, and when you start changing that narrative, business thinks about it differently. And we had an ambassador come in, and he said, "Oh, where's Logan?" And someone said, "Oh, it's about 30 minutes south of Brisbane." I went, No. Brisbane is about 30 minutes north of Logan, because Logan is true north, right? Logan's the centre. They all laugh, but he came to Logan because of that conversation.
Yeah, really.
And he came and had a look, and he's like, "Oh, we've got businesses that could invest here." Like, there we go.
Well, it makes smart sense for businesses. Land's cheaper, and they can build bigger, and like all you got to do, drive down Wembley Road.
That's right.
Like I still remember watching those, there was that pink house on the top of the hill, right next to the driving truck.
I was going to buy that.
Right?
Yeah.
And
I should have. I didn't. I should have 5 years ago.
We all should have. But like, it stayed there forever. And I know that all this development on Gilmour Road was happening.
Yep. Named after you.
No, spelled differently. so I can't. That's why the sign's still up. If it was spelled like mine, there would be no sign. Just saying. But like, they stayed there, and it just kept getting. Basically, it's just getting built around, and then you got Toll, and you got, you got the Good Guys and JB and all these other warehouses. Like, everything is in there now, and the brand new service station that's just been built. I think, is it a Night Owl or something? That's a huge one with a Shell there, or whatever. So, Logan just, like, I grew up in Sunnybank Hills, but like, business and my personal properties are all in Logan. And I got 2 investments on Gold Coast. I don't have anything in Brisbane City Council at all now. But
it's too expensive.
Well, I built a couple in Druvale, which is basically, mate.
We should have Druvale. Druvale should be Logan. That's crying. Whoever drew that line.
It wasn't. So
whoever drew that line did us.
You've got half of it on one side of the highway, the Logan motorway. So
that's right.
Technically, it should have been. But like, I'm really proud. Like, people go, "Well, where do you live?" And I'm like, "I live in Logan. Like, I invest in Logan. Like, I've got, I own 3 commercial properties. I have a personal property in Logan. I've had others as well too. Like, and they're like, "Why?" And I'm like, capital growth. Like, if you can get in now, and it's all coming here. Like,
it is.
I'm on the ground every day. I see it. You can see the people that are investing here. You can see the businesses that are investing here. It just made sense for me. And they laugh.
Yeah.
They just laugh at you, and you're like,
"Oh, you're the one missing out. You are the one missing out." If they're not here, they are dead set. The window is closing, because soon it'll be like Brisbane. It'll be too expensive for most people to buy into.
It's, to be honest, it's almost at that point.
Yeah, especially on the east side of the highway, Springwood and places like that.
Most of my stuff now that I sell is $1 to $2 million.
Yep, there you go.
Right, like, and they're like, "Where is that?" And I'm like, "Huh? What do you mean?" Like, I'm talking like Newbeath, Greenbank, like acreage, and they're like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Man, I'm getting better money than what you are in Roachdale sometimes."
Oh yeah.
Like, I see some stuff that sells in Charlotte Park or Canubia where I am, and I'm like, "Man, if that was in Newbeath, man, it'd be 200-300 grand more."
Yeah, wow.
And it just blows my mind. And I think because growing up, Anala got a bad rap, Woodridge always got a bad rap. My wife is from Slacks Creek. Parents still live in the same home, 43 years there in Slacks Creek, just off Queen Paradise Road.
Yep.
And I think the crime has probably always been the thing that probably has put Logan down.
It's a misnomer though.
I think it's getting cleaned up.
It is. So when you look at the data too, the most dangerous place to live in Southeast Queensland is the Gold Coast.
Really?
Yeah.
For what, break-ins or stabbings?
For violent crime. Tate doesn't like me saying it, but they're the stab capital of Southeast Queensland.
Well, Stabport.
But Stabport, and it's mostly based around, to be fair, the Gold Coast is mostly based around Surfers, Southport, like the nighttime precincts are where a lot of that violence is happening.
Right where I invest in.
Surfers
Paradise.
Smart man. Yep. But there's also, and I tease them about it because when I go down there, I go, Logan Shores is the crime capital of Southeast Queensland, but we're doing our part. We export crime to the Gold Coast every day, right? Because when there is a culture down there where you have nice things and you put your bling on display and you show off a lot, and unfortunately that makes them a target. And to people who come up from New South Wales as well for the same thing. So, and when you look at the data in Logan, it's been stable and slightly declining since before COVID. But that's not what the media wants you to hear.
No.
Right? And the stuff that we do have that's sort of keeping it up, so it's not decreasing as much, is things that they're bloody frustrating, hooning, those kids on dirt bikes annoy the hell out of me, and property crime where there's no risk of life. That's the stuff that's keeping it up, and unfortunately domestic
your
violence.
Fix it. Put a dirt track in it and put a skid pan in.
I'll put a skid pan in, my favourite.
I'll sponsor the skid pan.
You'll sponsor the skid pan.
Absolutely. I'm down for that.
You're down for that?
Absolutely.
The cameraman says yes.
Absolutely, we're down for that.
Did you see that I went out to the mobility centre, just around the corner from you? And
okay. I was there 2 weeks ago with Audi.
They'll do drift nights there for us. So when that site was owned by state government, the D word, as they said, you couldn't say it, no drifting. Right, but now that it's owned by RSCQ, they're like, sure, we'll do driver safety nights. Like, can we call them?
So what, the big pan down the back?
Yeah.
Because I did an Audi experience, and I've never been in there. I'm literally minutes away from it.
Yeah,
because that's where I go to the tip.
Yep.
And I didn't realise how damn big it was.
It's huge, and they've got multiple locations where you can do it. So they've got that really big one that's all set up for the water to be across it. So it's just a big rectangular space.
It pumps the water out.
It does.
I thought they had a fire truck.
And they recycle it.
Yeah.
And then they've also got the one that's like a little road track down there, so you can practice on maintaining control through corners. And it was interesting talking to the RACQ guys, because they're going, this generation, so my kids are the first generation to have cars that have traction control. They've never been in an old Datto where you can slip and slide around. It corrects for you, so that that saves a lot of little bengals, but it means that when a big accident happens, when you really lose control, you've got to do emergency braking in the wet, you've got no experience about how to control your vehicle, which is super dangerous. So during the campaign, lots of people said, what are you doing about hooning? It's a police matter. So we have limited influence, but we're rolling out the covert cameras and we're rolling out mobile cameras, right? To try and support police enforcement activity, which is fine. But as soon as I said that, people who love cars, car enthusiasts, said, oi, like, we're not all criminals and grubs. How about you do something positive as well? And I was like, good idea. So I want to bring back the Logan Car Show. It's been gone since 2018. Do it on Moss Street, shut down Moss Street and have it as like a big street festival with heaps of hotted up cars down there, put some displays on and get some corporate sponsorship. There you go, mate.
There you go, mate. Call me.
Yeah, and
I'll be down for stuff like that.
Yeah, and so much fun, right? And people love it. It brings people together. And then I went down to a meet that was just up the road from here, actually, and a woman in her 20s, she said, she goes, like, it's rev therapy for me. When I've had a hard day, my boss is a jerk. She used to go to Archfield. It's closed. I've got nowhere to go that's safe, so I just do it wherever I can. And I was like, how would you feel if we did some drift nights, 50 to 100 cars or something like that? So that'd be amazing. How regularly can you do it? So that's something I want to partner with the Mobility Centre.
Because the only place really is Queensland Raceway.
It's a long way away.
Too far.
Right, it's a long way away. And it's almost at capacity too. It's really busy on a Friday, Saturday night. So being able to do it, and it's probably, because it's not a raceway, you've been out there, the Mobility Centre, they could probably do maybe 50, 60 drivers at a time, but heaps more people than that. So you put some food trucks on.
Yeah,
because half the fun is watching people drift and do it badly, like I do.
Yeah. See, I hate drifters.
Yeah, of course
because
you're a racer.
Correct. They put the shit on the track before we go out.
Yeah.
Man, this is not motorsport.
No, that's right.
But I'll take my Audi out every day of the week and do it. So that would be fun.
Yeah. So that's the sort of stuff I want to do. And it's surprisingly cheap, right? And Norwell does some stuff as well down there. On the Gold Coast, but still really close to us. So we want to see if we can set some stuff up there, because when people say, what is council doing with our money? If I told you I could get, say, 50, 60 cars off the road on a Friday night and get them somewhere safe, it's not going to bother anyone to drift there instead, and it only costs maybe $2 or $3 grand to do that, great use of money.
Well, it gets some food trucks, brings more business.
That's right.
And everyone wins.
Activity, that's right. And at the same time, RSCQ are keen because they want to get some road safety training to people, like what to do when you lose control, right? Yeah. And lose control well, and so that you recover.
Well, that's what I learned, and I've been racing since I was 5. And then I jump in the car, my actual daily car is an RS6. We had an RS6 there, and it was at 100k, brake at that. Do not brake before then.
Yeah.
Right, and then swerve and go through. And I'm like, man, I've never ever done any of this sort of driver training in my life.
So
ever.
important.
And you know, and then pushing traction control off and spinning it, and like what I learned was where your eyes are is where you go, and that's why like everyone dies because they hit the only light pole the only tree because they're looking at it.
Yep. Or they look at the car that's coming at them.
Yeah, so like where your eyes are is where you're going to go. So like when it spins, it's like look, keep looking up at the shack, bang, and the car just there you are, and you're back on track. Like, so I think it is super important, and I think that was something that Audi was really trying to push was there should be when they go for their license, like this should be mandatory.
I agree.
And that's the perfect place to do it.
It is, and it's that positive car culture as well. So like reinforcing the good stuff. They used to have Operation Drag. Do you remember that old drag car they had on the Gold Coast? You're probably too young. You're younger than me, aren't you? I am, but I know a lot of older people who love to race. So and so the Operation Drag car, completely not road legal, is at Crestmead Police Station because the officer in charge there absolutely loved it. So he brought it back out of retirement. He's happy to bring that thing out. And you can't do door-to-door racing in the mobility centre, but you can do timed racing. So the Operation Drag will go, and then you can try and beat its time.
Can I bring my Formula 3 out?
Yeah, man.
That will give people something to look at.
They're heaps of fun, right? And that's what we want to do. Like people, people who love cars, right? That's a community. Right? And
it's a huge community.
It is. And when you talk about diversity, often people just think it's about the colour of your skin, what you believe in, where you come from, but it's also what you like to do with your free time, right?
You got the Brisbane Broncos.
Yeah, that's right.
You got the South, like you go to South Logan. Yeah. You've got your fanatics.
That's right, you do.
Like
diehards.
You know, like
absolute
that, you
diehards.
know, and it's like, but that's a community.
It is.
You know, and you got your Indians, your Sikhs, you got your Muslims, like you know, like everyone interjects or wants to feel a part of something.
They do. And recognising that diversity doesn't have to be about your culture, it can be about what you want to do on your weekend, and embracing that means that we do have to look for different opportunities because you can't just have the library, have the pool. You've got to have things that everyone can enjoy, right? And then that's why it builds a community and a culture as well. So doing big signature events doesn't just need to be like we're doing Flame Festival on the 21st of September. Really exciting. We had 22,000 people show up last time we did it. And we're going to do it bigger and better this time. They were lining up for 2.5, 3 hours to get smoked meat. We'll have more than one smoked meat vendor this time around. And council sponsors that, but then we also, because it's so big, businesses go, oh, I want a piece of that. How do I sponsor it? They get involved too.
Absolutely.
And that lowers the cost of the ratepayer, but the community still benefits, right? You get in there and you have a great time. And that community out there in Jimboomba, totally like, they've got a total country vibe. So if you like country music and you like smoked meat, then those are your people. Go out there and spend time with them. And some of my favourite people in the whole city. Sorry, everyone else.
So we'll finish up because I'll let you get back to work.
Thanks, mate. It's been good fun. This is heaps of fun.
Us ratepayers are paying you to sit here right about now.
Right.
Have you got anything that you can leave us, like a scoop? Is there anything that the Logan ratepayer household, what have you got planned that we can look forward to? Is there anything that you can that you can give away?
I can. So it's been spoken about already, but I don't think many people, including yourself, understand how big it is. So there's an announcement coming up around Logan's Olympic venue, which is an indoor sports centre that'll be at Logan Central. It's massive, $160 million build, 9 courts. Absolute state of the art.
Wembley Road.
Just off Wembley Road. Just off Wembley Road there. And that will, that facility will be massive because we know we don't have enough indoor sports courts. We're about 9 short at the moment. By the time we get to the Olympics, we'll be 16 short if we don't build new ones. So these 9 courts will go a long way. That facility will change what the council precinct is like because all of a sudden you've got people coming there for conferences, you've got people coming there for all sorts of sporting events.
That's going to put Woodridge on the spotlight.
I know, and then businesses will want to be near it because customers are coming to it, right? And then houses will want to be near it, right? So you get units and things popping up around it, and you've already got that big beautiful park there. You've got Logan Brothers just down the road, and so it really will become like Central Gardens for Logan Central with this massive indoor sports facility that goes with it. I think it'll be spectacular. And everyone goes, oh, that's great. Olympic venue, that's what you've been gunning for. I'm like, that's a good start. Like, if you don't ask, you don't get. I'm constantly pushing for another stadium. Like the CEO of council is sick of me saying how we're going to get a stadium. I want to travel and go and talk to other countries and get them to invest.
It's got to go where I told you before.
Yeah, that's right.
That's.
You've got to go and get people to come here and spend money, right? So
because I said I'll sponsor the stadium.
Done. Oh, you want to sponsor the stadium?
Yeah, absolutely. Done. I want my name on the stadium.
You want your name on the stadium?
So
cool.
I was,
Any stadium? Or
No. We're at the Broncos this morning. We were talking about it.
You want a rectangular stadium?
We need a stadium, a 10,000 seat stadium.
Boutique stadium.
Up there, where all the fields are.
And the challenge is, where do you put that, right? So logically, you look at Metro, so that's where Logan Metro is now on Browns Plains Road, but public transport there is not great. Right? So realistically, if you want to mass transit of people, want to move 10,000 people in and out quickly, you need to be near a major bus corridor that's got access to a busway or a train line.
You're the man, fix it.
I'm working on it. That's keep my powder dry, that one I'm working on. Or the other one too, have you been out and seen the facility, Brighton Homes facility, that the Lions have at Ipswich? So when you're driving through Springfield, you get out to the new part of Springfield.
Yeah.
And it's massive stadium on the side of the highway.
Yeah.
Huge branding on it.
It's my gym.
Oh, there you go.
That's where I go to gym. Total Fusions.
Yeah, okay,
Lions,
great.
right?
And it's spectacular, right?
Mate, it's damn amazing.
All right. Imagine if we could have something like that sitting on the highway at Beenleigh, right? Something huge.
And I can
with
see
your name plastered across the side of it.
Oh man, like that's big bickies, man.
That is big bickies.
That's big bickies. But it's very clever. It's right where the train line is.
That's right.
Right at the end of the train line, and they get off, they get on, That's
smart.
my gym actually.
And it's only 5,000 people, that one. So you want double that size in Logan. Doable, expensive, and we've got to put it in the right spot, because that long-term planning means that you get it right.
When you look at it
time.
that way, I'll ring Steve and let him know.
Yeah, okay, all good. But when you look at long-term planning, it's about getting it right the first time. So it's measure twice, cut once. It takes a little bit longer to do that long-term planning, but it means that when we put something in a location, we know that that's the best spot for it. We know the community wants it there.
So you reckon Bentley's around
Beenleigh, Meadowbrook,
yeah.
Because Griffith University's got a heap of land right on the Logan motorway.
They do.
The train station's getting upgraded
They
there.
do.
And
the hospital.
And on the long-term plan, there's a green bridge that links the Hyperdome across to Meadowbrook. That would be a game changer. But that's on, like, the city deal is a 30-year deal between council, state and fed.
Yeah.
The projects at the back, I'm worried, may never get funded. So you've got to have a reason to bring that green bridge forward. Having a stadium on one side of the green bridge, so that you've got the busway that comes down to Logan Home, and then it'll zip across the highway straight to the back of a stadium in Meadowbrook. Perfection. And those are the sorts of ideas when people go, what do mayors do? That's the stuff I think about when I'm not working, right? That's just like, how do I make this happen? Who do I need a relationship with? Who's going to pay to build it? Because I don't think we can keep relying on government to keep building stuff forever. We need private investment.
Yep.
And like there's an idea around where are we going to have baseball for the Olympics, right? And Australians don't really watch baseball, but it's a massive export sport. Like, baseball makes more money on broadcast rights than any other sport in the Olympics. And the people who love baseball the most, Taiwan, Korea, Japan, they would fall over themselves to build the first Olympic diamond in Australia. The companies that would come, it would be amazing. So do we look for something like baseball, a little bit boutique, right? And then that brings a whole bunch of investment around it.
Absolutely.
Which means, and when they have their business trips, they'll come to Logan because they want to watch some baseball. They want to see the facility that their company's invested in.
Oh man, it blows my mind, just the thought of, and that's just that much. That's a speck of, of everything else that you've got to do daily. I think I talk people out of getting into real estate.
Yep.
Right? It's 100 hours a week. You won't see your family. Yes, you can make good income, but you'll sacrifice everything else. I am not going to run for mayor.
Oh, really? I talked you out of it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm done. I'll stay put here.
Nice.
We'll keep voting you in.
Thanks,
and
appreciate
you
that.
can just keep doing
You keep doing real estate, I'll keep doing government.
Absolutely.
Good deal.
I think that would be a great ingredient there. So, John, pleasure.
No, thanks,
thank you
Great
so
to be
much.
here, Chris.
I think our listeners and watchers will just got to learn a little bit more about you.
Yep.
All we see is you just waving on the side of the
That's
road
right.
and stuff like that, or at a basketball game. And I've got to know Jim quite well because I see Jim you know, and
He loves the basketball.
he's a kid's play, you know.
If I see him and I try to talk about work, he rouses on me. He's like, I'm here to watch the basketball.
Yeah, basketball. He you know, and he turns up in his, you know, his sneakers and he's there to watch his kids at Logan Thunder.
That's right.
You know, and he is the federal treasurer. He is running the whole ship.
Yeah. Well, the economy is his responsibility.
Absolutely, you know. Yeah. So it's kind of cool to be surrounded and to sort of get a bit of an insight on all of this.
And you look at the people, like the talent that's coming out of Logan, business, government, charity, there's huge things happening to the point where, like, we've got an aerospace company here, right? Like, it's a huge deal. They do rocket fuel happening right here in Logan. They've got defense contracts. They are the duck's nuts of aerospace. So how do you feel about having an aerospace industry where we're putting ships or missiles or whatever else you like into space from Logan? Incredible.
Yeah.
If I'd have said that to you 10 years ago, you'd have laughed at me and called me an idiot, right?
Yeah.
That's the sort of stuff I want to land, those opportunities that no one's thought of before.
Yep.
And that means that there are opportunities that are ripe for the taking, and that's the stuff I want to get.
Beautiful.
Cool. Thanks, mate.
Vote for John.
Yeah.
4 years.
Buy with Chris, sell with Chris. Sell with Chris.
If you got the product, they'll buy it.
Yeah. Makes sense.
That's simple.